Hello, my friends. So, if today's date, June the 17th, is your birth date, this is a reading for you for this year. This is a four-card pull. Today, I've added a new deck, soul cards, for your year. This is a general energy card, a challenge you might face this year, an action you can take this year, and where might this lead you to this year? So, your general energy card for the year is the comic. So, in Ayurvedic medicine, the medicine of India, Hinduism, thousands and thousands of years old, the two healing energies for the heart are crying and laughing. They're both the same wave. They're both the same energy pattern. And often, if you find that you've been in an intense session of grieving, it often leads to a place of laughing. And the same with laughing, it often leads to a place of being open enough to grieve something that you no longer need. And usually, the path of laughter is the path of learning how to deal with one's grief. So, this is a year of looking at your grief and finding a way to laugh about it, and remembering that you can be the clown and the fool, and you might actually be the most ingenious and genius person out there, because you've learned how to rise above the ego pains of self, the small pains of self, the victim pains of self, and seen a different side of yourself. Also, maybe you've learned that you don't have to cut so deep with your comedy toward others. Maybe you don't have to be so sharp clawed with others, and maybe it's about learning how to temper your comedy and understand that we're humans and we all need this comic release, and we all need this sunshine that can join us together, and we all need this understanding that we all, in most ways, face the same kind of pains, and we all have to heal these old wounds so that we can become more centered, more balanced, more heart aligned, more intuitive aligned, and not just in our heads, in our judgments, and creating us versus them. So this is a year of looking at your inner fool and seeing if you can make your inner fool an outer fool who entertains others, not in a mean-spirited way, but in a way that helps people to heal and cleanse and release some old stuck energies. So, what does that mean is your challenge? Well, the challenge is the emperor. You might be building an empire, and you might be totally serious, and you might be even unattached to your emotions and unable to even understand your emotions, but you're a driven person. You're trying to create an empire. You're trying to create the laws and the rules of an empire, whatever empire means. Maybe it's a business, maybe it's a relationships, maybe it's just a sense of your physical self and your physical form, and you're trying to heal something that needs to be healed. So, your challenge, I think, for the emperor is always to find your humor, is to always find your humanity. The emperor is either, that sense of either a benevolent emperor or a tyrant. And the tyrant doesn't see anybody but themselves, only cares about themselves, and uses other people to further themselves and find themselves and make the things appear as they wish it to be. Now, the benevolent emperor is one who sees everybody as a necessary part of the puzzle and asks everybody to step forward in their kingdom, queendom, their sense of power, their sense of abilities, and that emperor sees the good and the powerful in each and every one of us and draws us all forward to create a civilization where we're all working together, where we're all being together, where we're all able to be vulnerable together and have healing from that vulnerability. But that's not the world we live in, and that's often not the world that we're placed in. And that right now, in the sense of the day, is there's a lot of empires rearranging and recreating themselves, and we have only to look to our own government to say, what kind of an emperor do I want there? What kind of emperor does that reflect back to me that I want to be in my life? Do I want to do the same kind of things? Do I want to do something differently? Do I want to have more heart in my operations and not feel like I don't care about others. So it's a powerful year for you to look at your challenges, particularly the challenge of being humorous, the challenge of being kindly and compassionately humorous, and bringing that to your life, your energies, seeing the bigger picture and understanding the broader scope of things is really what the comic taps into. And that's how they can make fun of things in a positive way that doesn't hurt somebody but helps somebody else to see where their pain is and to see how to a way out of it. So what is the action you need to take this year? It's the whale. And the whale is the record keeper. So this is something about either contacting old records, looking into old understandings, deeds, looking into old relationships, remembering back to your childhood, remembering the records that you have from your childhood, remembering your past, your connections, even looking back to past lives, the Akashic record. The whale's in charge of the Akashic record, the remembrance of time immemorial, the remembrance of what has come before. And in that action, do we learn compassion? Do we learn the possibilities? Do we learn the challenges that we as humans have faced and the pains that we have put on ourselves in our smallest places, in our smallest egos? So the whale is also that sense of being able to dive deep into one's old pains. And I think this is what this card talks about for you right now, you on this birth date. It is to dive into your old wounds. Take a deep breath, dive into your old wounds and look at them with a pure heart, an open heart, a loving heart, a compassionate heart of a benevolent emperor who wants to bring your own self along to heal yourself. And what's the whale then do? It comes up and releases that energy into the air, takes in fresh breath, and emerges. Immerses that into their consciousness, what they've experienced. So the whale is often about healing work, old traumatic healing work, past life and present life traumatic healing work. And if the title of your card is the comic, then it's about doing it with a sense of humor, and doing it with a sense of playfulness, and doing it with a sense of we're all fools on this journey, and we all make mistakes, and we all have to forgive ourselves, and we all have to rise above our own self pulling in of guilt and shame and envy and all the seven deadly sins, whatever you want to say it, and be gentler with ourselves and be more loving with ourselves. And that means spreading it to others. If you can make others laugh, gosh, you have made an amazing day for somebody. You have changed someone's mood from possibly depression to something that's lighter. And if you can help lighten people up this year, you're doing some amazing work. And if you can't, you have to look at yourself. You have to go into yourself and say, why can't I be a little more joyful and a little more playful, even as the world shows me that, that's not what's happening on some scales, but it can be happening on your scale. And we only can ever do it for ourselves. We can't do it for anybody else. We can only ever choose to be happy in ourselves and be humorous about ourselves and be fools about ourselves and let everybody else be damned, because they're going to do it when they do it. You can't change them. You can't change the president. You can't change the cabinet. You can, but, right in this moment, you can't do anything about anything that's outside of yourself. Maybe offer some stuff up, but if the world doesn't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But you can. You can change your mind. You can change your humor. You can change your attitude. You can come forward with a more loving and playful and even foolish attitude to show people that fools are really geniuses in a lot of ways. So what is the final outcome card? Well, it's just a soul card. These don't have any interpretations other than what one gets out of them. So I think if you're laughing, if you're playing, if you're that benevolent emperor and learned how to take a little break and take a little rest and release yourself from all the civilization you're trying to create and all the rules and laws and new ways of being you're trying to create and trying to heal the government, if you take a break from all of that off and on, if you give yourself some laughter, go to a play, go to a musical, go perform in front of people, go be a clown at a circus, whatever, but you're going to have a lighter heart, you're going to have a deeper connection to your spirit and your soul, and you're going to dance a lot lighter. You're going to dance in the shades of pinks and purples, higher intelligence and compassionate heart, and it's going to come out like an amazing, graceful bird in its beautiful dance of love and acceptance. So may this be a year that takes you to your beautiful, graceful bird inside that dances in a heart of love and acceptance and allows itself to look foolish regardless of what others might think. Ahom Takoyase.